Good day everyone and welcome back to Clean Cut EDC. Today we are talking about the Pickled Steel Heindall. Just look at that freaking blade, guys. This is a monster of a knife. This is a fighter, right? This is the tactical badass offering from Pickled Steel with an action to kill for. This thing is so good. I've had it now for quite a long time, quite a few weeks, and I have EDC'd it, and it is a big boy. Let me tell you that. For me, personally, I love it because I love carrying around big knives, right? That's my thing. That is what I enjoy. Many people don't. Many people like to carry around a little penguin or something like that, something lightweight. But this thing is the one, right? This thing is the one that's going to get the job done. It's going to chop down that tree. It's going to protect you. It is not taking crap from anyone, right? This thing is just a monster. I love it. I love it so much. It is really fitting for outdoor work, for protecting yourself, definitely. I think it was intended, the design was intended as a tactical folder. Yeah, I'll explain why I say that, because today we are doing a full review on this knife, right? We are going to discuss the dimensions, the weight. We're going to compare it to some other knives, and then we will conclude by just doing a walkthrough on this guy. I do these Pickled Steel videos because I want Pickled Steel fans and potential buyers, I want them to understand what you're getting from this company, from these knives. I want them to see what it's like in hand. Yeah, and I think this is truly a challenging knife, right, to review, because this is one of those knives that it looks good, it looks strong, but you don't really understand just how solid this thing feels unless you hold it, right? And there's a few shops opening up now around South Africa that actually have these knives in stock, the Pickled Steel knives, but I will release that info in the future once they get settled and stocked up. And then you guys can go check out these knives, feel them in your own hands, and decide what you think about them. And let me tell you, once you pick up this thing, you're not going to put it back down. That thing is going home with you. I don't care what your wife is saying, right? But okay, let's compare it to some common knives. Here we have the Penguin. You guys can see it is by far larger than the Penguin. Here we have the Pickled Steel Joker, which is one of the first Pickled Steel knives, if I'm not mistaken. And this thing is underrated. I think, I haven't really seen a photo of someone EDCing this knife lately, but this thing is just fantastic. Like a nicer bushcraft little food prep folder. The P-bomb, very similar, but the Heindall still has about half a centimeter on the P-bomb. Let's look at the Honey Badger large Tanto. I think they're going to compare well. Yeah, they are just about the same in size, basically exactly the same. So if you have a large Honey Badger, they are exactly the same size, right? That's fantastic. The Heindall, my personal EDC, but I have now switched to the Rico. If you haven't seen that first look video, go check it out. The Rico is going to take the market by storm, I believe, because it just has so much to offer. There's the Heindall compared to the Akal, and the Akal is a pretty big knife. So you can just imagine this thing is it's huge, right? But it's not uncomfortably huge. It's still a practical knife to carry around, right? Here we have another sort of outdoor offering from Pickled Steel, and they are exactly the same size. The Pickled Steel Plato. That's fantastic. Okay, let's weigh this guy, right? Because being such a massive knife, we probably let's just do maybe if you own a Wave or a Leverman, this is sort of what you're looking at. This is the side clip, but it's the same in length as the Wave. So yeah, but more than that, it's a big boy. Being a huge knife like this, it must weigh a ton. So let's just see what it what it comes down to. Yeah, there's no skeletonized liners, anything like that. This thing is heavy, and it's meant to be heavy, so that there's a lot of power behind that stab or that cut, right? Or that slash, whatever you want to call it. 145 grams. Now that is definitely not a light knife. Where's the Akal now? 120 grams. So this is what do we have? Let's just check the Plato. Plato 127. So this is hands down the heaviest knife from Pickled Steel. I don't think there's a knife heavier than this one. Not even the Halo, right? And I think it's due partly because of the blade. This is a thick blade, but also because of the very thick liners. This is basically a frame lock in a liner lock. If you look at something like this, where is my rake now? Come on, man. If you look at something like this, for instance, the rake P801 SF, fantastic knife. I need to do a review on this one also. There's certain things that does frustrate me. But if you look at something like this, right? The Heindall's liners is basically thicker than the frame lock scales of the rake. So many people would argue and say, oh no, you know, frame lock's so much stronger than a liner lock and stuff like that. But if you have liners that are this thick, yeah, it's gonna do the job, right? There is basically no task that it won't be able to do. Now, I've seen many videos of people chopping with honey badgers. And if you look at the liners of a honey badger, man, that is thin freaking stuff. And people chop wood with honey badgers, right? Baton with honey badgers, do crazy stuff with honey badgers, and the liner lock holds up. So yeah, I can only imagine that it would be even stronger. This is so good. Such a beautiful looking knife also. Love the red pivot collar. Love the G10 scales. It's wonderful. Where's my measuring cheapy stick? Here we go. So we have an overall length of 21 centimeters. We have a blade length of 9 centimeters. So that is massive, guys. That's a massive blade length right there. That's basically, what's that? 3.5 inches. That's a lot. Yeah, so then we have a handle length of 12 centimeters. We have in the thickest place a width on the blade of just like 2.8 centimeters. Handle width in the thickest spot 3 centimeters. Handle thickness is a nice chunky 1.5, and then the blade stock thickness is, if I'm correct, it is like just over 3 millimeters. I think it's 3.5 millimeters. So that's a good stock thickness on your blade, right? Especially on a D2 blade, which is the blade steel on this guy. D2, fantastic steel. You just need to know how to maintain it. So basically, just keep it oiled. Don't put it down, or put it away while still wet and stuff like that. Don't, just do whatever you can for it not to rust. But I have so many D2 blades, and yes, I do take care of my knives quite well, but none of them have rusted yet, and I do live close to the beach. So yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, let's walk through this knife, right? We have a beautiful blade. Nice switching here. Creates a little bevel that strengthens that tip quite a bit. As you guys can see, that is such a beautiful grind. We have a flat grind. It's like this belt satin finish. And then we have a stone wash here on the blade, on the flat part. So beautiful, man. I love it. I love how Pickled Steel does that. And they do it quite often where they, sorry, let me just get another knife. Where they would finish the grind a certain way and then keep a little flat stone washed spot. And that's so cool. I just like how that looks. It's awesome. Stone wash on the spine, and then we have some jimping here at the back of the spine. Very ergonomical. Definitely a tactical knife. It's almost more comfortable holding this knife in a reversed or ice pick position, right, than it is to hold it in a normal way. Both are comfortable, but it seems as if this knife was created to almost fight with, right? So this is basically the perfect self-defense knife. So if you are in law enforcement, if you are maybe a farmer in South Africa, or need a big boy, strong knife, but also something to protect yourself with, a fireman or something, those guys, yes, they have it tough sometimes, going into bad neighborhoods, and people are not happy about the fires and everything. They need to protect themselves. If you are in such a position, or even just live in maybe a sketchy place, get the Heindall. Get the Heindall. You won't be sorry. If there were at any time, someone that would break into my house, this is going to be the first knife I go to. Unless I have a fixed blade handy or nearby, something like this, which we also will discuss, a South African made knife. Yeah, I will go for the Heindall, because this thing is gonna pack a punch. This thing is gonna do some damage. And the way the milling out of the G10, the texturing on the G10 is done, it's almost as if Pickled Steel designed this, or the OEM designed this to fit in the right spot, to give you the right grip at the right place when you have it in a defensive position, right? So good, man. Oh man, love the flat grind. Definitely a slicey beast. The factory edge on this guy is quite steep. My guess would be it is maybe around 17 degrees. I don't know if you guys can maybe see that, but that's a steep little edge there, and it is very, very slicey. Awesome. So very sharp out of the box. And I think this is maybe the steepest edge I've seen on a pickled steel knife. I don't know, the Berserker does also seem to have a thick edge, but here you go with the plate though, the P-bomb. This one is probably more along the lines of 22 degrees, where this I think is more along the lines of 17 degrees. That's awesome. That will last you quite some time. So we have a flipper tab. That's the only deployment method you have here, and it does lead to a very clean looking blade. No, you know, stuffies to get in the way, no stuff to tangle up in. Just very clean, very effective flipper. The flipper tab does also have some jumping there, as you guys can tell. There we go, very functional jumping. I've never missed this flipper tab, and I probably never will, right? So that's great. Very effective, fantastic action for such a massive heavy blade. It comes flying out, very, very, very effective. Runs on ball bearings, has a good size stopping pin. Good size stopping pin. The lockup on this guy is unmatched. It is basically unbeatable. I think the lockup on the Berserker, the plate though also, the P-bomb also is just fantastic, and they've really nailed that. You know, the fact that there's basically never any wobble or blade play in a pickled steel knife. That's awesome. So yeah, very effective G10 cutouts, milled out in the best possible places. No harsh spots. Very smooth. Yeah, great balance on this knife. It's just fantastic. Jumping is in the right place. You can use the flipper tab as a trigger, or as stuff we do would say, you can curl over it, you know, if you need to use that maximum amount of blade. That's awesome. And then we also have very thick liners, as I mentioned, but not skeletonized. Nice bead blast finish on the liners, which is awesome. We have two standoffs, flow through construction, so easy to keep clean. I love that they placed the standoff a little bit higher here. It definitely does add to the strength of the overall knife, but also of the scales, the handle. Reduces any flex that might be present. This is such a solid knife, right? On the plate though, we have two standoffs here, and some people say, that's overkill. But if you're in a situation where you really need your knife to hold up in your scales, especially if you're going to baton or use this for chopping, stuff like that, you want that extra spacer, right? This is so great. Fantastic lockup. We have a high ride pocket clip. I love this type of pocket clip because they go over the pocket so easily. So you guys can maybe see here, I will just grab my pants and slot this in there. It's going to be more difficult to do this if I don't have it on me, but yeah, there you go. So that's the amount of knife that will stick out. Very, very good access to your knife. Definite high ride experience. Not as concealed as a deep carry pocket clip as with, for instance, let's use a Joker. Joker has a deep carry pocket clip, right? But quick, easy access, and that is what you want for what this knife was designed to do. This knife was designed to protect you, right? So you need that quick access. You need to deploy it quickly. All of those things are going to play a role at the end of the day if you need to use this in a defensive situation. So yeah, just fantastic texturing, fantastic grip. This thing is awesome. Definitely, in my opinion, the most badass knife from Pickled Steel. The tactical folder. You also have a reversible pocket clip, so you can switch that around, and with the flipper tab, it makes it very lefty friendly. But yeah, fantastic knife, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a knife day, and remember that no knife means no life.